So we came to the conclusion that we weren't broken as a profession, far from it. There's nothing wrong with the profession. But we were having some of the roles that we do nipped away by others. Others were starting to invade our space to do some of our work. And if we kept that up, we were getting narrower and narrower. And we felt that it behoved us to get ourselves in the best position possible to face the future really confidently and make a really big contribution. I personally felt it's a profession that was under-leveraged for lots of reasons, and we want it to be fully leveraged, and we believe that if we start to broaden the remit of the profession, so not just think about animals, but start to make commentary about the environment, not become environmentalists, and not become human activists, but start to have different conversations, then I think we'll be invited to more tables, we'll make a bigger contribution, and ultimately you get more influence and more value. And we'll give you some examples of this so you know it's not fairy dust or just something we've made up in the last 12 months sitting around a board table. So, yeah, over to you.
So, as a veterinarian, the word well-being, I struggled with that for a while because it just sounded a bit too warm and fuzzy for me. But I kind of had to put a few things together, and I thought, right, when I'm thinking about animal welfare, did I actually want to be a vet because I wanted to do the least possible job? Did I want to be a vet because I wanted to do the minimum amount of things when I was at that table in the consult room? Did I want to do the minimum for the cat, the old lady, and you know, where she lived? Did I want to do the minimum for that farmer and that animal, and you know, maybe the streams as well? So I thought, no, I actually don't want to do the minimum, and so I don't really want to be at that minimum level. So I want to be doing the best or the right thing for all those situations. And so I thought, really, actually, well-being, even though I may not quite like that word, and we still haven't settled on any word, you know, doing the right thing when you're acting as a veterinarian is actually probably what we all aspire to. And sometimes we find it difficult to actually get it done because maybe our clients don't have the money or other things happen. But you know, when we're there, sitting with the old lady whose cat is sick, and we're trying to keep it going for as long as possible because, you know, that cat was her husband's cat, and, you know, she is very dependent on that cat to really keep herself in her own home and looking after herself. That's what we're talking about. That is actually where we work all the time, is that actual intersection between the cat, the old lady, and her community, keeping her in her house. And when we're on a farm, it's exactly the same. You know, we don't go on a farm and not take into account the farmers, how the farmer farms and how he kind of can farm within the financial other restraints that he's got, climatic restraints or whatever. We are always trying to find the middle ground between doing the right thing for everybody, and that's probably why it's quite a difficult job that we do. So to me, actually, the well-being of all those three groups is actually really what we are doing already, but we probably don't recognise it. And as the role of the animal changes, we've got some huge opportunities, because the culture and the values that people are affording to animals now, the changing place of animals in society, means that we can't continue to do the sort of stuff that we used to do because it's not going to be acceptable. And so we're going to have to broker that middle ground between what may be quite extreme views, especially because of the urban-rural divide, and you know, what may be some too old-fashioned views about how we do things, and whether that's pet care, could be dog ownership at the moment, it could be some practices in farming. We know when we talk about some animals that are just, we know that their body condition score is just too low, they're not looked after well enough. That is really not going to be acceptable for global markets, and it shouldn't be acceptable for New Zealand, because really New Zealanders, really at heart, we all want to do the right thing. We actually want our animals to be looked after properly, we want our people to be looked after properly, which also means them to be financially sustainable, and we want our environment to be good. So to me, it does make sense that working there, because we're already there, and we just have to change our frame and make sure that we can hopefully take our other external partners away from what has become an absolutely defend and mend position. And that's because we've got such change in technology. Everything is instant now, and we can just look at the safe photos that outlined an issue, and we totally accept that there was an issue there, and we're hopefully going to go into some other details of that, which Carl will have. But you know, we are only one other photo away from another issue, because there are issues out there. Some of those issues, which they would capture on a photo, may be legitimate, or they may be just misconception because of people's misunderstanding of the rural situation or what's happening at the time. And I think we're all involved with having students come out with us on farm, etc. And you know, often when we're doing things on farm, if that was taken, a photo taken at the time and it was out of context, even us doing a good job may not look right in the media. So those are the things we have to be careful of. And as I said, this is this kind of, every time that photo comes out, we're in this react mode, defend and mend, and we really haven't got a leg to stand on. So trying to move away from that issue by issue reactive stuff into a culture of actually looking after and doing the right thing, so actually we can stand back and say, gosh, isn't that wonderful? You know, we're actually in a good spot, because I think all of us saw those photos and knew that actually maybe we couldn't be quite so lean back and think that it was all right. So doing the right thing would mean we wouldn't be doing what we saw in the bobby calf situation, because we all know that right along the supply chain, there needed to be changes happening, and everybody had to be responsible for those changes along that supply chain. Doing the right thing is actually using antibiotics carefully, so that we have them to use when we or our animals get sick in the future, because there are no golden new antibiotics coming out. The commercial reality is that industry isn't that interested in finding more antibiotics, because it's a dying product. It's going to be increasingly regulated, and it's going to be more and more hard to use, so it's not going to be a huge money earner for them in the future. So we are going to have to be relying on other things. So we do need to look after what we've got. The stats with antimicrobial resistance, when you think about it, are really scary, in that the future could mean that like 1 in 6 hip replacements die. Now that's going to have a huge impact on us, because we're all hoping as we get older that 70 is the new 50. Well, if we can't replace our hips and our knees, that may not be quite the case. So it will certainly have a huge change on society, let alone the fact that people may just die from a simple injury to their hand when they're out gardening. You know, it's not Ebola we're talking about, it's actually just a simple injury to your hand that you may not actually be able to get treated. So this is serious stuff, and something that, one thing that we can agree on is that actually the more you use a product, antibiotics in this case, the more likely resistance will develop. And we all know with anthelmintics that that's exactly the same. So it's not rocket science. So as I say, that is doing the right thing. And once again, doing the right thing is that I think as New Zealanders, we really do want our children to be able to swim in the streams of the future. So when we look at whatever we're doing, and I'm a farmer as well, I want to leave the streams in a good spot, and I want to leave my farm in a good spot, and I want my animals good. So, you know, that is doing the right thing.